Poland said Wednesday that it and its NATO allies had shot down Russian drones that violated Polish airspace in what it called an act of aggression as Russia launched aerial attacks on Ukraine. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk wrote on social media that, last night the Polish airspace was violated by a large number of Russian drones. Those drones that posed a direct threat were shot down. According to Associated Press, the Polish armed forces said Wednesday morning that a search for possible crash sites is ongoing and urged people not to approach, touch or move any objects they see, warning that they may pose a threat and could contain hazardous material. Police and border guard were patrolling and searching the Jaroslavl. Poland's armed forces were on a heightened state of alert overnight Tuesday and early Wednesday because of what they described as further massive airstrikes against targets located in Ukraine. Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz wrote on X that more than 10 objects crossed into Polish airspace and those that constituted a risk to Poland's security were neutralized. He thanked NATO Air Command and the Royal Netherlands Air and Space Force for supporting the action with F-35 fighter jets. Bernard Blasuk, mayor of the village of Wyriki in Lublin region, told TVP Info that a house was hit by either a missile or a drone, we don't know yet. He said people were inside the building but nobody was hurt. The Polish armed forces said Wednesday morning that a search for possible crash sites is ongoing and urged people not to approach, touch or move any objects they see, warning that they may pose a threat and could contain hazardous material. Warsaw's Chopin Airport suspended flights for several hours, citing the closure of airspace due to military operations.
Przytrzymaj mi kamerę, bo muszę, albo pasy mi zapnij. Okay.
Poland has activated its air defense forces and destroyed unmanned aerial vehicles that violated the country's airspace. This was reported by the operational command of the Polish armed forces. The report says that during Russian airstrikes on Ukraine, drone-like objects repeatedly violated the country's airspace. The Polish military used weapons to destroy these objects. It was reported that the military operation is ongoing. Residents of the Pola, Mazovia, and Lublin provinces have been urged not to leave their homes. A UAV in Poland damaged a residential house in the village of Wyriki, Lublin Voivodeship, writes Polsat News. The roof of the house is damaged, the car parked on the territory was also damaged. A damaged drone was also found in the village of Chosno, Mazowiecki Voivodeship, the police said. Polish Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz said that weapons were used against enemy objects. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk also said that the army had hit the objects. NATO member Poland said it was in constant contact with the alliance's command. Tusk informed NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte about the destruction of several drones that violated the country's airspace. I informed the NATO Secretary-General about the current situation and the measures we are taking against objects that violate our airspace. We are in constant contact. Reuters, citing the U.S. Civil Aviation Administration, reported that 4 Polish airports, including Warsaw Chopin Airport, were closed. There have been reports of Russian drones violating Polish airspace during attacks on Ukraine before. But this is the first time that air defense forces have been activated to destroy drones. On this issue, U.S. Senator Dick Durbin noted that the repeated violations of NATO airspace by Russian drones are a sign that President Vladimir Putin is testing our position to protect Poland and the Baltic states. According to him, airspace violations cannot be ruled out in the light of Russia's recent deadly attacks on Ukraine. U.S. Representative Joe Wilson said the Kremlin's actions could be interpreted as an attack on a NATO ally. This is an act of war. He also thanked NATO allies for their swift response to the aggression of war criminal Putin. Wilson called on Trump not only to impose new sanctions on the Russian war machine, but also to provide Ukraine with modern weapons so that the Ukrainian armed forces can strike deep into Russia. According to him, what happened showed that Putin is not limited to Ukraine, but is testing NATO's resolve. Free and prosperous nations will teach Russia what borders are. Israel launched a strike targeting Hamas leadership in Qatar on Tuesday, officials said, further widening its campaign against the militant group as negotiations over ending the war in the Gaza Strip appears stalemated before a new military offensive there. According to Associated Press, black smoke rose over the skyline of the Qatari capital, Doha, with authorities there acknowledging the strike. It wasn't immediately clear if anyone was hurt in the attack, marking the second time the energy-rich nation has been directly attacked in the nearly 2 years of war that have gripped the wider Middle East since Hamas' attack on southern Israel on October 7, 2023.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Sana hindi pumani yung kotse. Oh my God!